Along my journey of healing, I kind of wanted to like open this video up with somewhat of a, I don't know, British vibe, but I don't even know if that was British. I don't know if it was British or if it was Australian or if it was neither. Along my journey. along my journey, along my journey of healing, one of the most fascinating things for me has been looking at black or white thinking. Now, I don't know if I'm going to utilize the accent, the impersonation that I just did, whether that was British or Australian. But I just like having fun, and that's what's fun for me. I have been really just like observing myself for a long time, as well as other people, but specifically I've been noticing black or white thinking as a dynamic in myself as well as other people. And, you know, I found myself observing somebody, I believe it was yesterday, and, you know, I just thought about it, and I was like, black or white thinking is so fascinating, right? Because basically what black or white thinking is this or that, right? So it's basically the opposite of both this and that. It is this or that, meaning that two elements do not, and I suppose cannot, exist at the same time, right? Like, for instance, saying, well, if he or she was smart, then he or she wouldn't be doing this or that, suggesting that the intelligence of a person cannot exist if they do this or that, or if they say this or that. Before my journey of healing, I wasn't really aware of black or white thinking. And the more I look at it, the more I realize just how immature and underdeveloped it is. And that's not me attacking anything or anyone. I'm genuinely not. I'm more so just fascinated, right? Because like to consider that somebody cannot be intelligent if they do this or if they do that, it's just not sufficient. It's not enough, right? Like, if you are smart, then you wouldn't do, I don't know, you wouldn't do this or you wouldn't do that. Well, hold on a second. There is an entire host of other things to take into consideration. Hence, why it is underdeveloped. Why it is an immature way of looking at things, right? If you are this, then you must be that, right? It's just fascinating to me. And then also, like, becoming aware of the black or white thinking that exists within me. Because there have been times where I've noticed that, like, I'll be in conversation with somebody, and I actually don't want to do this anymore because I just don't like it. And the good news is I don't have to do it. But I'll be in conversation with somebody, or I'll be listening to somebody say something to me about something, and it'll start to, like, boil me up. Like, maybe it's something that I can't do anything about, and it frustrates me, it hurts me, it pains me, it causes me upset. Maybe it's about something that's, like, over there that I just have no control over, and something terrible is happening, right? I notice that I get really frustrated, right? And then it's like, I'll say something like, you know what, that person is the biggest asshole in the world. Oh, I can't stand it anymore. I don't know how much that has to do with black or white thinking, but it's very extreme, and it's simply based on my emotional state. From what I've learned about black or white thinking is that it's very much based in just like emotions and getting consumed by emotions and not being able to see the bigger picture. Because if you could see the bigger picture, you'd be able to see that both this, right there, went a little too far, both this and that can exist at the same time, right? A person can be highly intelligent, right? But they might, I don't know, they might suck at walking. Maybe they walk in a way that leads them to trip all the fucking time. Are they stupid? Do they lack intelligence? Oh, well, if they were smart, then they would take the time to figure out how to walk better. There's that, if they were this, then they would that, right? Maybe they just don't give a shit. And they're allowed to not give a shit. And that's what's fascinating about this, too. Just because they don't give a shit about walking better, maybe they want to spend... It's not that they want to spend the rest of their time, the rest of their lives, or the rest of their life. There we go. They're not cats. They don't have fucking, multiple lives. That's just a joke, obviously. So, where was I? Oh, yeah. It's not a matter of whether they want to or not. They just don't care. They don't. And that doesn't make them any less intelligent. So, the reason why black or white thinking is so fascinating to me is that... Alright, think about it this way. Here's this, and here's that, right? Black or white thinking is this, which is the opposite of this. This is both and. This is black or white thinking, this or that. In black or white thinking, this or that don't go together. They don't overlap. And so these two different things, or maybe not that crazy of different things, but two things do not and cannot exist at the same time, right? And so, is it true that if this person was smart, then they wouldn't do this or that? I don't think so. I mean, maybe it depends on what it is, but I don't know, the more I heal, the more I see black or white thinking everywhere. It's literally everywhere. And it's so fascinating to me because it offers just a window, a lens of perspective into understanding just how people work and why people are the way that they are. I mean, I don't really learn about why they are. From what I've learned, black or white thinking has to do with a lack of emotional maturity, right? Because you would have to be emotionally immature, or you'd have to lack emotional maturity to see that a person can have both good and bad qualities together. Yeah, I think I was taking a second to make sure I said that correctly. So to make this clear, you'd have to have an underdeveloped sense of emotional maturity to believe that a person cannot have good and bad qualities together, right? Like, oh man, I don't know, politicians are a good example, right? A lot of them, they represent themselves, or they present themselves on TV in a way of, leadership, and they're going to do all these great things, but then you find out that there are fucking scandals that come out, right? Like they I don't know, sexual assault scandals, like whatever they are, right? Are they all of a sudden a terrible fucking person and they should be canceled and, this, that, and the other, and, away with them, off with it? Like, no, I mean, I'm not here to say yes or no. I'm just, my intention is not to say whether politicians, should have this or that. My intention is to show that, and it's the show, sorry, I had like a brain fart there. It's to show that we don't need to paint people as either all good or all bad, that both and can exist at the same time. If you take this hand, which is that, and take my other hand, which I'll just put over here, they can overlap. That's both and, you know? It doesn't have to be this or that, or this or that. And so, and the other thing too, like, you know, I hear people all the time talking about how, like, oh, that person's bad. It's not a matter of good or bad or right or wrong. It is a matter of healthy versus unhealthy and whatever is healthy versus unhealthy. But when black or white thinking distorts your reality, the title speaks for itself. It literally does, because black or white thinking in and of itself is a distortion of reality, because if both parts can exist at the same time, if a person can have qualities that are both good and bad, and they're not just a bad person or they're not just a good person, right? If they're just a bad person, then, you know, you want to cancel them, or you want to say this, that, or the other negative thing about them and devalue them. If they're just a good person, which they're not, right? Then you want to idealize them and throw them up on a fucking pedestal. No, both can exist at the same time. A person can be fucking wonderful and do great for charity, but they can also be working through their own trauma issues, and word can come out that they're fucking physically abusive or verbally abusive. Both this and that can exist at the same time. They can be both a really good fucking person that, you know, has their own foundation and donates a lot to charity and does a lot of great things for the world. But then somehow their fucking private life, which is a romantic relationship, might come out, and their unresolved trauma might surface in that relationship, and word might come out that they are physically abusive. They are verbally abusive, right? Does that mean that they're a bad person? No. It means that they have qualities of this, being a good person. It's not even a matter of being a good person. I really don't like the whole, like, oh, they're such a good person, or that person's such a good person. Oh, that person's such a bad person. Like, no. It's not healthy to be physically or verbally abusive, right? It is healthy to donate to charity. Healthy, unhealthy, both and, right? And so that's the dynamic to look for. But when you have black or white thinking, it distorts your reality because it's just not accurate. A person can have, they can possess both qualities. It's not that they're just all this or all that. That extreme thinking, that all or nothing way of looking at things is really just inaccurate. It's not a matter of good or bad or right or wrong. It is healthy or unhealthy, but it's just not accurate. And when you can see things for what they are, rather than distorted as black or white, it changes the entire dynamics of everything, and then you actually see things more clearly.